Hi, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller. Welcome to Challenge Overhauled. My patrons and I are running a challenge every quarter where we focus on a different topic, and they voted. This is the one that got picked, and I couldn't be more excited. Inspiration for this challenge began when I was editing a haul video and noticed that there were so many books that I had hauled ages ago that I still haven't gotten around to, and I don't have any way to prioritize them over everything else. So perfect, right? Now granted, over the last couple of years, I've done a lot better job of not only bringing in books that I think I'm more likely to read and want to read later on, rather than just random buying. There is a bit of that. But I've also been doing a good job at prioritizing those books that I decided to spend actual cold hard cash on. I don't know what it is about those books that you buy, but for some reason they always seem to get lower priority. As due dates for ARCs are screaming at you, as the library books are due back. Everything else has more of a sense of urgency, whereas the books you brought home will always be there. Over the last several weeks, I've painstakingly gone through every single haul video that I've done and written down everything on these little pieces of paper that we're going to draw from throughout this challenge. Here's the number that I have hauled in total this year. This is how many I've read, and this is how many I have unread. Like I said, the ratio is better than it could be, but I could use some improvement. So what are my goals? I am planning on 5 videos beyond this introduction one in this series. So I'm going to be picking 5 books from this, and I've color-coded them by priority or desire to read, if you will. I got the idea of color-coding it from Emily Fox's Read It or Unhaul It challenge, but the pink ones are the ones that I'm dying to read. I brought them home. I should have picked them up immediately. Yellow is kind of in between, and then green ones are me regretting my decisions. There were quite a few books where I'm if that came up in the rotation, I'm not going to want to read them. It opens a can of worms. And I've also included, if I bought the entire series of something, every single title is in here. So there's a very good chance we'll read some Artemis Fowl or Witcher books this year. I've also hauled a lot of sequels that I haven't started the first book yet. So if I pick one of those, then I have to go back to wherever the series begins that I haven't read and start there. But I figure if I spent money on an entire series, that should be proportionately represented and some higher likelihood of reading it. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So my goal is to read 5 of these over the next 3 months and do a little feature on each one of them. Keep your fingers crossed that I only pick pink ones. At the end of the video, I'll be doing a quick TBR where I list out everything that I'm looking at reading. I did a bookshelf over on Goodreads, or you could also go and watch all of the playlists for all the hauls that I've done, which I'll link. This project took me a couple of weeks to put together. Not only was it incredibly tedious to write all these books down and make all my lists, but I knew this was the project that I was going to be focusing on next, and I have been having to wait to pick a book to know what I'm reading, and the anticipation is killing me. So let's do it. Let's figure out what I am reading first for this challenge. Please, please, please be a pink one. Pink one. Ah, pink one! Woohoo! Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. I really thought I was going to get a green one. Oh, nice. Okay. Ashes of Man by Rocky O. A Sun Eater book. I bought a Sun Eater book this year, and actually I've only bought one this year, so the fact that this is the one that came up first, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So let me get where I'm at in the series. Okay, I hope this isn't too confusing, but Ashes of Man, this is book 5. This is the one I hauled this year, but because I am not this far along in the series, that means I have to read the next one in line, which is The Howling Dark, book 2. Okay, this is one of my favorite things going right now. I'm so excited that this one got picked. This is going to be probably the easiest draw that I've ever done for one of these projects. If you're on BookTube at all, you know everything you need to know about Sun Eater already, but why I personally am enjoying it, I like the character profiles. Really interesting. A lot of people compare it to Name of the Wind, like Quoth, and the similar kind of chronicling storytelling. It's a lot like that. I like the creativity and the world building. This is kind of like a fantasy sci-fi hodgepodge. It's reading like a fantasy, but it's set in space, and there are alien creatures, and the world building there is just really phenomenal. And I love the things that this character is going through. He's kind of got to rely on internal resources and quick wit to get him through some hard situations, some of which he put himself in, But it kind of reminds me of the show The Mandalorian in a sense, where you've got a really interesting character who keeps getting the crap kicked out of him, but then he's got to find a way to build himself back up. I love that kind of stuff. And I can't wait to read more. So we'll do a quick TBR, and the next time you see me, I'll be reporting my progress on this book here and picking a new one. All right, let's take a look at my TBR for this challenge. I compiled everything on a list on Goodreads, and thank you to Ben at Books with Bengus Khan for giving me a hint on how to set this up so that I could film my screen and myself at the same time. It's easier than I thought it would be. I was trying to make it more complicated. Anyway, so I put them all in descending order by author's last names so that all of the series are together and whatnot. And I think I've got a really good lineup here, but there are quite a few that I'm kind of dreading doing. So, for example, the Wake the Dragon series by Kevin J. Anderson. If you caught my A to Z challenge, you'll know that that's the one that threw me off the challenge altogether. Not necessarily the series' fault, but I was over it by then. But I've got the Joe Abercrombie short story collection. I've got Niki 7, a couple more books in the Inheritance cycle. A couple of really random picks with The Counselor, Sand of Malice. Allie Carter, this was like one of my first Pango pickups. This is the second book in the Heist Society. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have bought that, but it is what it is. I've got all the first 3 of The School for Good and Evil. Bought those on Book Outlet after watching the series and actually kind of liking it on Netflix. Couple of YA books, and then we've got a few of the much later in the series for the CJ Cherry Foreigner. Got Chris Colfer's trilogy. I bought the entire Artemis Fowl series on Book Outlet for like $20, so that was cool. And then a couple of Julie Chernita. Combat Codes, really looking forward to that. The new Sebastian de Castell Greatcoats. I've got Stephen Erickson's sci-fi series, but I accidentally bought book 3 instead of book 1. It is what it is. Empire of Exile, I'm really hoping to read that one. I have a Jennifer Fallon book. I was so amped up on all things Jennifer Fallon until I made it halfway through her Second Son series this year and absolutely hated it. Couple of later Terry Goodkind. Those are green. Hopefully those ones won't get picked. John Gwynne book. I've got a whole bunch of Sookie Stackhouse books, and actually some of these are in here twice as far as the draw goes, because I bought one edition and it wasn't as the quality that I needed, so I bought another one. Shaman's Crossing, I have beautiful editions of those, but I'm a little nervous to start it because I have read half of the first book once and did not enjoy it, like put it down. Cameron Hurley, I've actually since hauled the first 2 books in this series as well, and even though I've read the first one already, I need to go back and reread. So all 3 of those will be in the draw. Then I've got a few YA books from that one Book Outlet haul. That one's going to haunt me this whole challenge. Speaking Bones, I'm actually hoping, even though I'm loving this series, that this one doesn't get picked because my patrons and I are probably gonna, well, no, we have it scheduled to read, so that one wouldn't be good. This would be a good time to get into the Jen Lyons series. Generation Ship, that one's a pink. I'm really hoping to read that one by Michael Mamet. I usually read them, like get advanced copies, but I didn't get one this time around, so I have the physical edition and I'm looking forward to that. The Glass Immortals, the Shadow of Lightning book by Brian McClellan. This is a short story that goes along with that. Flamefall by Munda. This is book 2. I would need to acquire book 1 if this one came through, but yeah, hoping that one is as good as people say. Random Sci-Fi by The Terraformers, Spinning Silver. This one we actually have scheduled with my patrons for a buddy read, so if it gets picked, I'm sitting golden. Fractal Noise, and then 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City. I am currently reading this book for Patreon Book Club, so I'm gonna kind of count it. Couple more YA. Bloodsorn of the Ashlorns. This is by Scott Renton, who wrote a sci-fi trilogy YA one that was superb. superb. Check it out if you haven't. Christopher Rocchio. Anthony Ryan, one of my all-time favorite authors, but I didn't love the first book in this series. So this one kind of got a yellow because I'm not sure if, I want to continue because I like the author, but I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy those. And then I've got Sword Defiant by Gareth Hanrahan, and I've just finished Gutter Prayer and decided to pick up more by the author because I really liked him. Quite a few R.A. Salvatore, which I'm not anywhere near. This is The Color of Dragons is a YA, but the other ones are part of the Drit series, and I'm not even close to being at that point in the series, so if that one gets picked, I'll go back to where I was at the latest update in the series, which is like the Neverwinter series. I'm on book 3, so it would actually be really nice to be forced to pick up a Drit's book again, because I've been wanting to anyway. Lost Metal, picked it up, put it down already, so if it gets picked for this project, I have to read it to completion. I got Defiant. I'm really looking forward to the secret projects. I've only read the first book, and so now I've been trying to make time for them, but I haven't. Priory of the Orange Tree and The Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I am hopeful to get to this series, but I'm hoping it doesn't get picked for this challenge because they are so long. Like, it would take me, it's basically 2 slots in one. If that one gets picked, then my whole month is occupied and I won't have as many videos out, so hopefully that one doesn't get picked, but if it does, we will do what we can. Royal Bastards by Schwartz. I am actually really excited to read this one. It's a young adult, so it's probably not anywhere near as gritty as I'd like it to be. And then The Infinity Sun by Silvera. I don't know anything about this series. It could be total crap, but I love the covers, so that's why that one's on this list. Coronets of Steel, that was an impulse buy on Pango. I regret it. Emperor in the Ashes, that series I've been wanting to get to for a while. Shards of Earth, the Final Architecture series. My husband got me these beautiful hardcover editions for Christmas, and total surprise. I didn't know he was ordering them, and I'm so excited. I hope this one gets picked because I want to start it, even though I am doing so many Adrian Tchaikovsky already. Like, I'm in the middle of a book by him right now, so starting another one would be kind of funny, but at least the genres, like I've got one fantasy and this would be sci-fi. They're different enough that it would be okay to read them at the same time, but I'm really hoping those get picked. And then continuing the Shadow of the Apt series, really hopeful that that one gets picked as well. Random purchase of Rachel Vincent's Strange New World, book 2. I don't even own book 1. First Binding. I tried to read this one for a project, library TBR or something, like one of my library projects, and I made it about 100 pages in before I DNF'd it. So many people that I trust say it's really good, and a couple people that I also really trust had the similar experience as I did, but I would like to give it at least one more go because it's a beautiful hardcover, and I would like to justify having spent that much money on it. Well, we'll see. Hench. My best friend really loved this book, so I hopefully will like it as well. And then The Legacy of Ash. I did a thing. I spent the rest of my book budget for the year on these beautiful hardcovers of these. You haven't seen them in a haul yet. That's like upcoming. But yeah, if that gets picked, I would be thrilled because also it will justify the purchase. And then I don't know what came over me, but I went and purchased a whole bunch of Brent Weeks books, and in fact I don't have this one yet. I put the wrong one in, book 4, but I would like to try this series. Everybody on booktube kind of poops on it, but I would like to read it for myself. Now, that being said, I DNF'd it after 100 pages of the first book, but there were enough interesting elements there that I'd like to go back and give it a shot. And then I have the Django Wexler series. I read the first one already, need to continue, have been meaning to. In fact, if that one gets picked, I'll probably read the first one again. And then finally, the Avatar, Last Airbender graphic novels. These are wicked cool. So the timeline after the original TV series, between that and when Korra started, there's I didn't want to jump to Korra. I wanted to know what happened in the immediate aftermath. That's what these are. These are by the same author, illustrator, whatever, who did the show, continued the story via graphic novels, so it is a legit continuation. And why haven't I picked these up yet? I don't know. But anyway, I have 1 or 2 more things that I bought myself for Christmas that'll get added to this list. So if they get drawn, I guess they'll be a surprise because I have not actually received them yet and they're not actually in this lineup. But that is what we're looking at. It's a pretty good pool to draw from, but there are some things that I regret having purchased, which honestly, this challenge, if the fear that we might run it again, is going to help me like limit some of my spending. Like, I'll think about it. If this gets picked for an unhauled challenge, am I really going to want to read it? Maybe I shouldn't buy it if the answer is no. So that wraps it up. Feel free to participate with us. My patrons are actually getting early access to this series 1 full quarter before it goes live on the channel. So if you want to get in on the challenge in real time, I've got a link to my Patreon in the description. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.